Mainline mishaps. Dear viewers, if you thought the trouble only happens on branch lines, you are very much mistaken. Trouble can happen anywhere, even somewhere as big and as busy as the main line. For example, as you will see, Rosie gets the fright of her life. Rebecca felt quite hurt about Murdoch's feelings. Dennis was running out of control, and Connor and Caitlin learned the dangers about their high speeds. Well, enough me spoiling the stories, let's just find out what happens. The writer, James A. Williams. Rosie and the Fire. It was a very hot summer's day, and Rosie was shunting some trucks in Vicarstown yards.
Phew!
She puffed.
It's warm work, this.
But just before she could rest, Diesel came bustling in, carelessly bumping into a train of oil drums. One drum that the workmen hadn't secured yet fell off the flatbed and onto the ground.
Diesel!
Rosie snapped.
Can't you ever shunt carefully? And besides, aren't you supposed to be helping me?
Bah, scoffed Diesel. I'm way too busy already. Can't stop to help puny little engines like you. And he rolled away rudely. Rosie sighed. What she didn't know was that the fallen oil drum had burst its lid open upon impact, and oil had spilt all over Rosie's track. Then everything happened at once. Just before Rosie could puff away, she could hear Philip tooting frantically. He was rolling helplessly along the line with some really heavy and really troublesome trucks.
Philip, slow down!
Called Rosie. But as Philip braked, some sparks from his wheels flew into a patch of grass on the ballast, and because of the hot weather, the heat from the sun set the grass ablaze. To make matters worse, the grass was very close to the spilled oil. Rosie was shocked out of her mind when the oil quickly caught fire right in front of her.
Ah!
She screamed in fright. Wow, thanks, Rosie, panted Philip. I don't know what's gotten into these trucks today. Then he gasped when he saw the wall of fire. Cinders and ashes, he cried. Quick, Rosie, back up, back up! But Rosie couldn't back up very far, as she was in front of a long train of trucks, and they could only move a few meters before stopping at some buffers.
I can't!
Rosie cried.
I'm trapped!
Don't worry, I'll go get help, called Philip. Hold on! He was uncoupled from his trucks and he zipped off to the nearest signal box. Words couldn't begin to describe how frightened Rosie was.
Help! Help!
She screamed in horror.
I can't get out!
But to her luck, she soon heard the sounds of an engine, combined with a loud clanging bell.
It's Belle!
She gasped.
Can you get me out, please?
Just stand still,
called Belle bravely.
Try not to panic.
And before either of them could say Sodor Search and Rescue Center, she used her water cannons to douse the fire before it could spread any further.
There you go, Rosie. Safe and sound,
puffed Belle. But then she could see that Rosie was utterly petrified. She had never been in such a scary situation.
Rosie, it's all right.
Belle comforted.
The fire is out now.
Huh? Oh, sorry. Thank you, Belle.
Rosie stuttered. Just then, Belle's driver received an emergency call from her radio telephone. Come on, Belle, said her driver. There's another fire in the forest.
Oh, not another one,
groaned Belle.
You know, Rosie, there are just so many fires to put out during the summer that it's getting ridiculous. They could come from out of nowhere.
She gave a friendly ding on her bell and puffed away to Henry's forest. But Belle's words unintentionally frightened Rosie even more.
So many fires,
Rosie worried.
They've come out of nowhere? Oh...
Unfortunately, Rosie was so scared that a fire could happen any time from anywhere that she didn't leave her shed for several days.
I'm much safer in here. Much safer.
But she had refused to leave her shed for so long, the Fat Controller came to see her on board Winston. Rosie, what are you doing stuck in the shed? Many trains have been delayed. The other engines had to shunt their trucks themselves.
I am so sorry, sir.
Apologized Rosie.
It's just that... Well, Belle told me about how sudden fires can be, and after what happened to me a few days ago, I just... Oh!
She shivered in horror. I see, thought the Fat Controller. In that case, I have a job for you that might cheer you up. You are to collect some water tankers and help the workmen fill up the water towers. With this heat wave going on, we're going to need all the water we can get. He mopped his forehead with his handkerchief.
Okay, sir.
Whispered Rosie nervously.
At least water makes me feel safer.
Oh, and Rosie, interrupted Winston, Philip told me to tell you that he didn't mean to set the oil on fire. He is really sorry if he caused a problem. There was a strange pause. What? They were Philip's words, not mine. Some farmers were busy collecting dry hay at the Vicarage Orchard. They loaded the hay onto Trevor's trailer, and he and Jem Cole took it all to the local farms to feed their stock. One of the farmers was resting on the hay bales. He was smoking a pipe and carelessly poured some ashes onto a small pile of hay. The summer heat soon set the pile ablaze, and soon the whole set of bales was on fire. You moron! Snapped Jem. Call the fire brigade, quickly! The careless farmer ran for his life to the vicarage. Soon Belle was racing like the wind, or lack thereof, along Edward's branch line. But she was in such a hurry she hadn't noticed that the line leading to the orchard had bent from the hot sun.
Whoa!
Cried Belle as she bumped and buckled off the tracks several feet away from the blaze.
Oh, bother! Wait, I think I can still reach the fire from here.
She was right. Her strong water cannon shot the water all the way towards the flaming bales. But then there was more trouble. Due to the epidemic, there wasn't enough water in her tanks to completely extinguish the fire, and soon her tanks were empty, and the fire grew again.
Oh no!
Groaned Belle.
It will keep spreading if we don't do something, and Flynn is busy with his own fire at Bluff's Cove.
So with no steam left to blow her whistle, all she could do was to ring her bell and call for assistance.
Help! Help somebody! We have an emergency!
There was a water tower nearby, one that Rosie was filling up with her water tankers. Just then, she could see Trevor chugging towards her. He whistled in panic.
What's the matter, Trevor?
Asked Rosie. Rosie, what a stroke of luck, puffed Trevor. There's a fire over in the orchard, but Belle has come off the rails, and she's run out of water.
Oh no, not another fire!
Cried Rosie.
What should we do? What should we do?
Then Trevor noticed her train. Rosie, you have water tankers on you. You must go over there and put out the fire with your water.
But I can't. What if it burns me like it nearly did before?
Don't worry, said Trevor. The fire is nowhere near the tracks. Come on, Rosie. Do this for me and Jem. Do it for the vicar. He paused. Do it for Belle. Soon, Rosie had enough courage to move herself forward. Belle was very relieved to see Rosie and her water tankers.
Rosie! Oh, thank goodness!
She sighed.
Quickly, we haven't much time.
Rosie looked at the blazing bales.
Trevor was right,
she thought.
It is further away than I thought, but it could spread its way over here very quickly.
Don't worry about it,
comforted Belle.
You can do it, Rosie. I know you can.
The workmen soon prepared their hoses and immediately shot their own jets of water from the tankers onto the bales. Since the hoses weren't as strong and didn't cover as much ground as Belle's water cannons, the dousing took longer than expected. But finally, with a splash, a twist, and a big sigh of relief, the orchard was fire-free and safe from any more harm. Rosie had her eyes closed the entire time, thinking the inevitable would come.
Open your eyes, Rosie,
chuckled Belle.
You've done it.
I have? Oh, I really have.
Rosie felt much better.
You were very brave today,
said Belle warmly.
You decided to face up against the fire, even though you were still scared. I'm very proud of you.
Rosie blushed.
So, are you no longer scared of fires?
asked Belle.
Well, not as much as it was before,
thought Rosie.
But if you wouldn't mind, I'd rather leave these things to the professionals after all. I'm a shunting engine, not a fire engine.
And the two engines laughed.